Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we got a lot to stew on here. I got to tell you, I wanted to do this yesterday, but I thought, let's get a level head. Let's put together some other videos that I think are important. And although, some of you may have seen some of my earlier stuff, Fabled Enemies, we're going to show a clip of that. We're really going to point out a lot of hypocrisy here. And here's the deal. The show trials are coming. They're coming in the very beginning of January. And here it comes. Al-Qaeda, terrorism, ISIS. We need to go in and take out the rest of these terrorists. Now, the fact that we're about to have secret military tribunals should be alarming enough. Alarming enough. The other thing that this is being allowed at Guantanamo Bay that should have been shut down years ago, was promised it was going to be shut down, used to be a talking point of the left, was a talking point Barack Obama used to get into office. And here we are beyond his 8-year term and into Trump's, and it's not even close to being discussed. We're going to get into Gitmo. Don't worry. That's 100%. But finally, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in a secret trial with 3 other co-defendants. We'll have their trial. It's set for January 2021. So we're going to be waiting a little while. We got another 13, 14 months. 20 years for a show trial, a military tribunal for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, one of the masterminds. And the hypocrisy is overwhelming. For the first time, a U.S. military court judge in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, has set a trial date for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the other 4 men charged with plotting the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. Judge W. Shane Cohen, an Air Force colonel who took over the case in June, said the trial should begin on January 11th, 2021, though a number of other details would need to be met for the long-delayed trial to begin. Now, we will know very little about this. This is a military tribunal. And as I said, the idea that Guantanamo Bay is still open, I want people very much to understand I'm not a hypocrite. When I do videos exposing high-level pedophilia in our government, in politics, in the entertainment industry, I don't forget about the fact that the women, the men, and yes, the children that were being detained at Guantanamo Bay were horrifically sexually abused. Horrifically sexually abused. If you look at Seymour Hersh's work, remember this was facilitated through Bradley Manning at the time, Chelsea Manning now. All right, if you look at that work, remember, they're going after Assange based on those facilitated leaks. Okay? We're talking about children being raped with broomsticks with battery acid on the end of them in front of their parents. Those are the type of interrogations that took place there. All right? We as a society allowing that to happen under our banner is unreal. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. And that's why, when people want to point at this state or that state or this group or that group, I say, am I part of the United States of America that does things like this? I am certainly not. I don't endorse it. I'm repulsed by it. I fight it. And there are a lot of those people in those groups as well, especially when you talk about nation states. And a nation state I really want to talk about right now is Pakistan. Why do I want to talk about Pakistan? Because there is absolutely zero doubt that according to their official version of events of what happened with 9/11, Muhammad Atta and others, Pakistan played a huge role in 9/11. The Pakistani ISI wires $100,000 to Muhammad Atta the week before the attack. Okay. Now, the head of the Pakistani ISI, he's the one that facilitates this through Omar Saeed Sheikh. Omar Saeed Sheikh, and you know what? We're going to do this one live because I really think that this is important. Omar, I'm probably going to butcher the Saeed Sheikh. Daniel Pearl. Now, this man right here is responsible for one of the conviction of killing this man here, Daniel Pearl. And it was the first beheading video, the Big Fear video. Now, he facilitated that for the head of the Pakistani ISI. All right? And that's very important because none of these men were ever charged with any kind of crimes in relation to 9/11, yet they said the attacks went on for less than $500,000. That would mean they financially facilitated this for what? 1/5 of the attacks. And it just so happens on the morning of the attacks, the head of the Pakistani ISI is meeting with Porter Goss and Bob Graham, the two people that will head up the initial congressional investigation into 9/11. Porter Goss will later become the head of the CIA. And all of this is seen in Fabled Enemies. But that's not even why I'm bringing it up, all right? That's not even why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because Joey B., Joe Biden, this man here, we'll just pause it right there. Yeah, this guy here, that's 914. We're going to get to that video in a second, is still on the stage. They're trying to promote him as the next presidential candidate. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard, who points out the fact that right now, openly, the boogeymen that we blame for 9/11, not the Pakistani intelligence network, not the Saudi Arabian funding, none of that. None of that. Nope. Al-Qaeda. Well, we currently work with them in Syria. No one challenged her on it. Let's watch that.
We were all lied to. This is the betrayal. This is the betrayal to the American people, to me, to my fellow service members. We were all lied to, told that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, was working with Al-Qaeda, and that this posed a threat to the American people. So I enlisted after 9/11 to protect our country, to go after those who attacked us on that fateful day, who took the lives of thousands of Americans. The problem is that this current president is continuing to betray us. We were supposed to be going after Al-Qaeda, but over years now, not only have we not gone after Al-Qaeda, who is stronger today than they were in 9/11, our president is supporting Al-Qaeda.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Let's stop it right there. Whoa. We don't want that. Whoa. Get out of here, Tulsi. Fuck you. You're off the stage. Doesn't matter how well you're pulling. Have you met every credential? We don't want you there. And you know what? She's somebody also that not only defended that claim, talked to Anderson Cooper, but talks about how social media bias is not a left-right issue. It's a free speech issue. 100%. 100%. That's why she was censored as well. Now, going back to Omar Saeed Sheikh and the head of the Pakistani ISI, I've explained that connection and how there's a state sponsor here, probably several. But here's Joey B. when he's a senator talking hard about Pakistan.
The day after the attacks, it was apparent that some people within the government were aware of the Pakistani funding of Al-Qaeda.
Oh.
Secretary Powell, one country you didn't mention was Pakistan, and I understand that your deputy has spoken with the ambassador to Pakistan.
Deputy Secretary Armitage did meet with Pakistani officials today. It would be useful to point out to the Pakistani leadership at every level how helpful they might be if we find a basis to act upon that information.
Senator Joe Biden, who had also met with the head of the Pakistani ISI, would have harsh words on the Senate floor.
And the word should go out to those who pretend that they wish to be our friends, that they're going to have to make some very difficult choices. Pakistan in particular is going to have to make a very difficult choice very soon. Words will not be sufficient. Actions will be demanded.
Now, later on, he's going to admit to the Pakistani role in 9/11. No one brings this up in the mainstream. Man's running for president. Who's touching this? Can we get this on Reddit? Movie's been out since 2008. You're going to watch two separate confrontations by Luke Rudowski, who I used to work with over at We Are Change, doing some amazing work here, asking Joe Biden about how the Pakistani ISI financed the hijackers, okay? And then we're not even going to discuss the fact that bin Laden's eventually found in Pakistan. And, if you didn't know, it was also reported in the mainstream media, in the winter after 9/11 that Pakistan had actually protected bin Laden on the night of 9/11. Bet you didn't hear that either. But here he is. He's running for president. And let's see what he has to say about the Pakistani ISI. No one bringing this up.
When Biden was confronted, he confirmed his meeting with Ahmed, saying Pakistani intelligence was indeed funding the Taliban.
Sir, Red Sox Nation. In the days following 9/11, you met with the head of Pakistani ISI, General Muhammad Ahmed. It has since come to light that he ordered Saeed Sheikh to wire $100,000 to Muhammad Atta. Why was he allowed to go back to Pakistan, and why wasn't he questioned, and why were you meeting with him?
I met with him to deliver a message that if he didn't stop supporting the Taliban, we would take him out.
Why did we let him go? We let him fly freely. We never investigated him. We never even looked into him.
Look, there's a thing called diplomatic passports. We did not arrest Khrushchev when he came.
But he financed the hijackers, and you let him go, and he's free.
These guys
he hijacked the hijackers.
No one knew he financed the hijackers.
It's lies.
As they say, get a life.
He would later state that the information was indeed classified.
How did you know the ISI was helping the Taliban, sir? How did you know they're helping them out?
That's classified. The old Joey B. Now, here's a little peek into how geopolitics really works. They know that Pakistani ISI has funded Muhammad Atta, who's the main hijacker they've put out into the media. They have them by the balls. So now it's you're going to help with our military effort in the Middle East, or we're going to fuck you up. And he says as much right here, because you know what? He talks about his meeting with General Mahmoud Ahmed, the head of the Pakistani ISI. And he talks about how he is the most powerful, if not the second most powerful man in that country. In that country. We're going to have fucking show trials coming up for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and we're not even going to talk about the Pakistani ISI involvement. We're not going to talk about that funding. We're not going to talk about the guy who was the vice president for 8 years, and we're pushing to try to lead the country on the left-hand side of this circus show, knew all about it. In the days after.
Senator Joseph Biden is the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's on Capitol Hill. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. As the president and all of his administration seeks to build a coalition preparing for the day when retaliation comes, you had a big meeting last night, I understand, with the head of the Pakistani Secret Service. What can you tell us of that meeting?
Well, it's their counterpart to our CIA, Bryant, and it went incredibly well. Quite frankly, I had long discussions with the State Department and the Secretary of State and with Mr. Armitage, who had met with him already before I met, so I knew what had already transpired. And the bottom line was, I told them what they told them. They've got to choose sides. There is no question. You're either our friend or you're our enemy here. And I am confident that this is at least the second most powerful, if not the most powerful man in Pakistan.
Let me stop that. This is either the second most powerful or most powerful man in Pakistan. Happened to be in Washington, D.C. on the morning of 9/11. Happened to meet with one of the next heads of the CIA. Happened to meet with two people who were writing the congressional investigation. Also met with Condoleezza Rice. She denied that. Came out much later. Everybody knew this guy. Everybody knew what the network was. Why? The Pakistani ISI is an extension of our CIA. They worked with us in the 80s against Russia when bin Laden was our ally, lo and behold. And before we get to the rest of Joey B explaining how this shakedown's about to work, and how, remember, you're going to choose sides now, and how we will go invade your country. He's about to say, you will be a target. This is before any of the invasion. This is 3 days after 9/11, this piece. I want to show people something, okay? I want to show people this live. So, you doubt me that bin Laden was protected in Pakistan, okay? Protected bin Laden in Pakistan just after 9/11. We love to do it live here. Let's see if we can get it right here. There's a CBS piece. Pakistan CBS. Bin Laden, Pakistan CBS. It's Dan Rather. Let's see, that's Bin Laden. It's not that one. Did Pakistani huge missed opportunities to catch Bin Laden? What are you talking about? You had him protected. He was protected. Hold on. We'll find it. We'll find it. But we'll go back to Joey B. I guarantee you it exists. I've played it in previous videos.
They will be cooperative in every way. So that's a very positive part of building the remainder of this coalition to be able to deal with what I hope, Brian, is not the beginning and the end of our way of life, but the beginning and the end of the way of life of these terrorist organizations.
I don't mean to throw water on it, but as cooperative as he promised he'd be, how much can you count on the idea of Pakistanis leaders being able to control their intelligence operatives and their military people?
Well, this guy's pretty tough fella. This guy's not a shrinking violet. Number one. Number two, quite frankly, Bryant, it's a matter of which pain they want to endure. They need us. In the end of the day, they don't want to be isolated as a pariah state. They don't want to be put on the terrorism list.
They don't want to be isolated as a pariah state. They don't want to be put on the terror list.
They don't want to be put in a position where their near-term future is in doubt.
Where their near-term future is in doubt. This is a nation state. Do you understand how this works? Do you get it? And by the way, we found that video. We're gonna get to that in a second. But we're gonna let Joey B shake them down.
And that will be the case if, in fact, they choose not to cooperate with us. So
that will be the case. Their short-term future, not long-term, their short-term future is in doubt if they don't play the game. After all, we know they funded them. And in fact, we know that they were actually harboring the main guy. Forget about just funding the main hijacker. Okay? Forget about that. Huh? No, there's more than that. What do you mean? I don't know. Where is it?
As the United States CBS News headquarters in New York. Good evening. As the United States and its allies in the war on terrorism press the hunt for Osama bin Laden, CBS News has exclusive information tonight about where bin Laden was and what he was doing in the last hours before his followers struck the United States September 11th. This is a result of hard-nosed investigative reporting by a team of CBS News journalists and by one of the best foreign correspondents in the business, CBS's Barry Peterson.
So right up front, they say, hey, guess what we found out? Check out this Pakistan connection where bin Laden's being protected by their military the night before the attacks. And oh, by the way, the first, if not second most powerful man's in D.C. And he funded the hijackers through a guy who killed a journalist by beheading him who was investigating terrorist funds. So weird. So odd.
Here is Peterson's exclusive report.
Everyone remembers what happened on September 11th. Here's the story of what may have happened the night before. It is a tale as twisted as the hunt for Osama bin Laden. CBS News has been told that the night before the September 11th terrorist attack, Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan. He was getting medical treatment with the support of the very military that days later pledged its backing for the U.S. war on terror in Afghanistan.
What? No. No way. Whoa. Wait, our media would be all over this, right? Fake news is a new thing, right? This 2002 report, should have been echoed everywhere, front page news. This is in January after the attacks. It still hadn't even been a year. Not even close. We're talking the months afterwards.
Pakistan intelligence sources tell CBS News that bin Laden was spirited into this military hospital in Rawalpindi for kidney dialysis treatment. On that night, says this medical worker who wanted her identity protected, they moved out all the regular staff in the urology department and sent in a secret team to replace them. She says it was treatment for a very special person. The special team was obviously up to no good. The military had him surrounded, says this hospital employee who also wanted his identity masked. And I saw the mysterious patient helped out of a car. Since that time, he says, I have seen many pictures of the man. He is the man we know as Osama bin Laden. I also heard two Army officers talking to each other. They were saying that Osama bin Laden had to be watched carefully and looked after. Those who know bin Laden say he suffers from numerous ailments, back and stomach problems. Ahmed Rashid, who has written extensively on the Taliban, says the military was often there to help before 9/11.
So, once again, you never heard about that involvement. And by the way, in the Dark Overlord documents, there's only 3 layers released, but there is mention of that Pakistani ISI wire transfer. And, you know, you can watch more of that Fabled Enemies piece, or you can watch Fabled Enemies free. Everything's over on my channel here, so make sure you're subscribed, thumbing this video up, sharing, ringing those bells for notification. But there's also another really important video that I want to point out before we wrap this up. And it's the guy who sold us bin Laden, the man who sold us the boogeyman in 1999. There was a book out there, Bin Laden, the Man Who Declared War on America. And it was by a guy named Yosef Bagdansky. He was on, the U.S. counterterrorism forces, pushing this book. He's a dual Israeli citizen. And during the video you just saw right here, I show him, by the way, he's still alive. He's still very much involved in this military-industrial complex takeover of Eurasia. He's trying to associate Iraq and Iran with bin Laden even then. Saddam Hussein even then. This is a script. And that's how they push you, like they're pushing Biden. Anybody else, it would be political death to be meeting with and negotiating with and carving deals with the people that were actually funding the hijackers behind the scenes. An intelligence service that was actually protecting bin Laden the night before the attacks, if you believe the official version of events. So, folks, I don't know what else to say. Get ready for the hype. Get ready for the hype. And when a congresswoman on stage in a national debate tells you that Al-Qaeda is now being supported by our military in Syria, time's up, Tulsi. We don't want you on that new debate. You can disagree with a bunch of her other stuff. I get it. That alone is very important to bring to the people. So, guys, if you like this video, I'm doing it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. That's a lot of videos. We're approaching the 500th video on this channel after kicking out the jams. So make sure you're subscribed, thumb this video up, sharing it with other people. Follow me on Twitter. Watch all my documentary films, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, both on 9/11, Invisible Empire, and New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture over at my channel in the documentaries playlist. And if you like what I do, I give everything away for free. Burmese Brigade Media Month 3 is in full effect. We're a little bit behind, but I've been slacking. I've had the kids on doubles, and I think I have them again tomorrow. So just a lot to do and get out there. I'm going to try to get out at least 4 today. Love to get out 5, but we will see. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I will see you on the flip side.